You want to hear the biggest lie perpetrated on Western civilization?
Yeah.
Salaries.
Salaries.
And here's why.
Okay. I think hourly is the worst way to get paid.
Well, salary or hourly. And here's
terrible.
why. Here's why. And a lot of you need to consider this as a business owner yourself.
Salary plus bonus is actually pretty.
Well, you have it figured out.
Okay.
Most people don't. Okay, so simmer down here.
Okay.
Salary and hourly. The reason it's one of the biggest lies perpetrated in the workforce is that you're having an individual come in and they're, if you're a business owner and they're agreeing to work for you for X dollars per hour or salary, even if it's not hourly, it's salary, right? And what happens is that over the course of a series of months, your hope and expectation is that they get better at their job. They get faster at their job. They're more efficient. They're more effectual. They're better communicators. They have a better understanding. They stand for your core values. They start leading people. They start, carrying forward. And so what maybe took them 8 hours when they first started, they can now do in 2. But what happens in businesses is you have to work the full 8 hours. And we know this. So what does the average employee do when they're working for a company they've been with for 10, 15, 20 years and they know the job like the back of their hand? They can come in and knock it out in 2 hours, but they got to be there for 8.
And they know that the only compensation adjustment they'll get is the annual 3%.
I'm going to get my 3%.
Yeah. Because the answer to that is base plus is my favorite way to pay.
Exactly. Base plus is fantastic.
Base plus is, I've been telling Chris and I this for years, right? Yeah. But the problem is the government limits that by them telling us how we can pay people, which, by the way, if you're listening and in the U.S. government, dumbest thing ever because you don't create competition. So stupid. Seriously, it's ridiculous. Going back to what you're saying, yes, if you're paying someone $50,000 to do X job and it took them 38 hours to do it for the first year.
They get punished for being better at their job than they were when they first started.
Unless now that they have 10 extra hours, they can do you now add on more money because they're bringing more value in the 10 hours they've created free space in.
Exactly.
That's the answer. And this is where tradespeople, I'll speak directly to a lot, because probably 80% of our audience is tradespeople, not just landscapers. Yeah. I looked at our map yesterday. We have a decent amount of people in Australia, New Zealand, South America. We have a pretty diverse listener group now on Down to Business. So many of you are viewing people as their hourliness is getting better, but not wanting to pay them more hourly. It's such broken math. If they're doing better, like you're talking about, even hourly, because it's a little harder with hourly than salary, because salary you can bump the compensation pretty, in a round number, so to speak. Where hourly you got to be careful, because then if you give them $1 raise, it's more like $1.50 with overtime. That's why hourly is I'm telling you, it's so stupid.
I get it.
It's so stupid. It's so handcuffing.
Yeah.
Let me finish this thought and I'll go to the next one. But you're looking at your hourly employee and you're not measuring their value, because if they're getting done an hour early, then you're like, okay, well, go squeeze in this one more thing. Rather than going, oh, your capacity for your route is greater, so I'm going to add something onto it and raise you at the exact same time. That answers that first one. The second one with hourly this is why it's a problem. And for people, hopefully, this is interesting. Hopefully there's people listening right now that have the ability to pay people salary and they're paying them hourly. So maybe they'll change it. So let me give you an example. If you're David, let's say you are in a season where you would really love to earn overtime, and you're making $20 an hour, okay? And let's say a job offered you 45 hours a week straight pay, and so that would give you another $100 a week, 5 hours, $20 an hour. Or they said, or you can just get, we can't do overtime, so we'll give you we have to cut you at 40. What if you had the ability to choose? So right now, because a company cannot pay $30 an hour, it's not worth $30 an hour for the extra 5 hours.
Yep.
So this is the problem in our country with this method. It should be used as a competitive advantage strategy. My company offers straight pay as many hours as you want.
Right.
My company offers overtime. My company only offers 40 hours. Pick your poison.
Right.
But unfortunately, the government tells you. Anyways, I didn't mean to get on my soapbox, but I do challenge people, business owners here. I didn't really think we were going to go this way with capacity in this, but think about the way you're paying your people. I have totally transformed the way I'm paying people the last 12 months. Chris can echo this. I've thought a lot about it. I was challenged yesterday by my business mentor again about it. because what you're talking about is, that's why I'm so passionate about this one specifically. Like you do get punished for being better, and that doesn't make sense.
No. That's why I've always been a fan of anything that is profit sharing or commission based, pay for performance.
Yeah.
Like I've my entire career, if I, outside of being an entrepreneur and building my own things, when I was working for people, I wanted, I wanted to have the opportunity to work extraordinarily hard and to do the most that I could with the time that I was given, but I wanted to be compensated accordingly. If I could do someone else's job in a quarter of the time, I wanted to be able to be paid in accordance with that.
Have you heard the Krispy Kreme story about this?
I have not.
It might not be national, but I think it's local. My business mentor, Dan Griffin, who's a mentor of mine, great friend of mine as well. He's been on the show. He was telling me a story where Krispy Kreme was having a hard time staffing their restaurant. It might have been a local restaurant. And the manager goes, "We don't have a staffing problem. We have a pay problem." She said, "If you give me a pool of what you want the payroll to be that week, I can get the work done with half the people if you let me pay them accordingly." Does that make sense? So if it was $10,000, instead of having 20 people, $500, right? She said, "Give me, I can get 12 for 800, whatever the math is, $850 a week per person."
Right.
They said no.
Yeah.
Because they thought the calling out sick and whatever, and it would mess up the corporate model. But isn't that interesting that she said, "I can fix the problem. You're paying the same weekly amount. Does not matter." And they said no.